Hello, everyone. So this three period is going to be on legal translation projects. Okay. So here's an overview of what happens in real life when you work for a company or when you're part of a team of translators. In this case, I am going to be your project manager. I am the one person in charge of dealing with the client, answering the client's questions, and maybe sending a quote for the services. As part of my team, I would usually have a proofreader, which is the person who is in charge of proofreading the translator's work, making sure that everything complies or measures up to our standards in the company, right? Uh, Part of a team as well, as part of a team, we have a legal translator, a certified translator, who is the person responsible for certifying that the work we are performing measures up to the standards, right? And of course, there will be different translators which are going to be working on, by being allocated sections of texts or projects. These translators, most of the time, they work from home. There are freelance translators that are hired to work on a specific project. Okay. A few ideas about becoming a legal translator. Here in Venezuela, you need the approval from the Justice Department and you need to take a test in order to get certified. You have to go through the process. What I've heard from colleagues in the area is that only a few translators are actually able to do this due to the many challenges and obstacles that we have. There's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to dealing with institutions or ministries. So there's a lot of red tape involved. Look at the picture here. Red tape means excessive administrative controls and processes that hold people back from getting uh, work done or getting a paper or a certificate or something, right? So you can try to become a certified translator. What I've heard from colleagues is that it's a very difficult process that requires a lot of work and it's not as easy as it looks. But anyways, when you work as part of a team, you will usually have a certified translator in the group, and this person will be in charge of introducing or certifying that the text measures up to the standards, right? So here's an introduction of uh, very common introduction that certified translators use: the undersigned, the name of the certified translator, your personal information, your phone number. You have to introduce yourself as a public interpreter in the English language in and for the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. So you can go ahead and read just to get an idea of what it's like to be introducing your target text as a legal translator, a certified legal translator. Okay, so I posted here an introduction so you get a feel of what is it that certified translators do. Okay, so this video is going to be about best practices in legal translation. And what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the process of translating a birth certificate step by step so that you are confident when it comes to performing your own tasks at home. What we're going to do is, just as we did for the Ocean Spray project, we're going to create a Google Docs and two or three of you are going to work on this specific project. The first one is going to be a birth certificate. So I want you to get used to how to structure the test and some best practices here. The first thing you need to do when you're faced with a text, as we learned in the previous content or in the C2 period, you need to run a situational analysis, understand what kind of text it is, what is the, some facts in terms of feel, tenor, and mode. I'm not going to go back into that because we already studied this in the C2 period. You introduce yourself as we did here in the previous slide. And the first thing you need to do when you start producing your target text is that you're going to introduce the folio number. Now, in this case, it's an example of the second page of a target text. You introduce folio number, and also what you do is immediately after you introduce the folio number, you need to describe seals and stamps. In this case, I have an example here of an inked seal from the fifth registry office of Barquisimeto, Lara State. Okay, so we're going to see this in practice in a minute. Okay, so here's the source text on your left-hand side, and on your right-hand side we have the target text, which I produced myself. Since I am not a certified translator, I'm using a shorter version of the introduction. I wrote, I, the undersigned Luis Reyes, do hereby certify that a document in the Spanish language has been submitted to me, whose faithful translation into the English language reads as follows. And then immediately after the introduction, I start folio 1, the first folio, and I name it number 1 because that's where it actually starts. Now, the first thing you need to do, as I said before, after you put the folio number, you immediately look for seals and you describe those fields, those seals. And the way to do this is introducing a comment. Okay, this phrase that you're going to write to describe the seals is not part of the source text, so you're not translating this phrase. Actually, what you're doing is you're making a comment on it, and that's why it needs to be in brackets. Okay, look, there appears some round-shaped inked seals that read, and then you have to zoom into the seal and try to get as much information as you can from the seal. In this case, the seal describes the following. It says, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Ministry of Popular Power for Interior Relations, Justice and Peace. And then it has a great coat of arms, which is escudo nacional, right? Also, it has the word SAREM, which means the Autonomous Service for Registry and Notary Offices. Then it has a number, Office 245, and it has a text that describes the principal registry office of Anzoátegui State. What happens in real life is that if you work for a team of translators, they would have more of these, some of these descriptions already done. And what you have to do is just to, make sure your coworkers or your colleagues provide you with all these descriptions, so you standardize the processes and everyone is using the same descriptions for seals and coat of arms and all of this, right? Okay, so what I just did here, I described the red line, which is the seal. Then what I did, the next one is you're going to start from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. On top, you have the logo for the Ministry of Popular Power for the Interior Relations. What a big name, right? It's just the Justice Department in Venezuela, right? So here, you're going to write it in brackets because it's not part of the source text. You're not translating anything. You're just interpreting what you're seeing. Look at the green line here. Then the next thing you're going to do is there is this logo right in the middle of the page on top, on the upper side of the document. And it says it's also a logo, Great Mission Quadrants of Peace, los cuadrantes de seguridad del Estado, right? You're familiar with these terms, right? They're all over the news, so we have to use them because this is documentation from Venezuela, so we need to use an approximation of what they mean by cuadrantes de paz, which is quadrants of peace, right? Then what we have next is SAREM, the SAREM logo. And then you also describe what SAREM means. SAREM is the Autonomous Service of Registry and Notary Offices, which is part of the Ministry of Popular Power for the Interior Relations, Justice and Peace. Okay, huge name for that. It's just part of the Justice Department. Okay, so I hope you're following this, and what you need to keep in mind is that after introducing the first page as folio 1, immediately you look for seals, describe seals, and then the logos. Now look at the sections where these descriptions are posted. On the left-hand side, the first one, the logo from the Ministry of Popular Power, then in the middle, Quadrants of Peace, and then on the right-hand side, the SAREN logo as well, right? So you try to keep your text organized. If something appears in the middle, then your target text should be right in the middle, in the same position. Okay, what about the next section after you describe the heading with the logos? Then there is a source text here that reads República Bolivariana de Venezuela. So as you can see, the green, follow the green line here. It says Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Ministry of Justice. So basically what I did is I translated, I placed it right in the middle because this is where the source text is located. Okay, the same area. Okay, moving on to the next section. Then starts the next section which reads, se legaliza la firma del ciudadano, tarara, tarara, okay? So in that section, I start my target text saying here, signature authentication of, and then handwritten. If a part of the source text is handwritten, you gotta make sure you write the comment in brackets as I did here, okay? And Judith Pimentel, ESQ, you can read down here what ESQ means. It stands for Squire, and it's mostly used to denote that the person is a lawyer or an attorney. Okay, just go ahead and read the description here. So I went on describing the whole thing. The word birth certificate, as you can see here, is handwritten. So I used it in brackets. I wrote handwritten birth certificate. Look at the numbers, are also handwritten. Number 5, folio 7, uh, tomo 01, which is volume 01 of the year 2005. And what I want you to keep in mind here is that this page that we have here is up until the red line, okay? So do not read under the red lines right now so you don't get confused. So I'm doing a detailed description of every section of the source text, and as I did it in a past project and as I created the target text here on the right hand side. So you have to watch this video several times to get used to how it is done, right? The next section, now we're going to focus on the target text under the red line right here. And I keep going by describing the following authentication makes no judgment, which is the phrase, la presente legalización no prejuzga acerca de ningún extremo de fondo ni de forma. So here's a phrase that is commonly used. You can also Google these phrases. There is a great web page called proz.com, Proz.com, and it's a network of legal translators that they basically provide useful phrases, and you can check with your colleagues up there and find the best phrases you can use for your target text. Look at the PUB number. I describe PUB as is a Spanish acronym for unique banking form. Basically, in Spanish, it would be like el número del depósito, right? So when you watch this video, I want you to pause it, and to get used to every section, you need to analyze how I organize my target text. What goes first? What goes second? What is handwritten? What is not handwritten? Okay, how do I describe the seals? How do I describe stamps or logos on the target that are present in the source text? How do I describe that in my target text? Okay, now we're going to talk about the blue line here, the blue arrow, principal register of Anzoátegui State. This is the section down here, and as you can see, Raúl Arturo Eli Antonio Bermudez is Esquire, which is a lawyer, is an attorney, SQ, and he also signed the document. And because you can't read what he's signing, you have to use the word signed illegible. Okay, look at the description of the round shape inked seals that reads. This is the purple one here. There's another seal here. And since the seal appears again, what I did is I introduced the comment one more time. Now, towards the bottom of the page, I have a line here with an address. I have to tell you that I did not describe the address in detail. I just wrote intersection of Freites and Maturin streets. Most of the time when we write an address, we have to write it in the source language. Okay, so like for example, if you live in Ciudad Alianza, you're not going to write Alliance City or something crazy like that, right? So make sure that you use just the address is going to be in the source text. Here, I did not provide an exact address. I just, pointed that is at the intersection of two streets, and I named Simon Bolivar Municipality in Anzoátegui State. So it's a very short. I don't feel that I am actually giving you the full address here. That's why I did it in English and not in Spanish in the source text. Look at the line. There's a line here towards the bottom. I did something similar. Another line here so that the person reading the document knows where we are in terms of, what section are we translating here. In the green arrow here, I make clear that now we're going to turn the page. There is a new page to be translated. Therefore, you're going to use folio 2. You can start a new page by writing folio 2. Okay. Okay, so here's my second page, and I named it folio 2. The first thing I do is I describe my seals. As you can see here, there appear some brown shaped ink seals that read. The seals are pretty much the same in every case. In every case, so you have to make sure that if you already translated the seal, all you have to do is copy and paste, right? Now, okay, so I'm doing the green arrow here, which is a description of the first one, and the red. As we can see, we have a different. Is a black one. It's not, and it's a black inked seal, and I described a little bit different. I just wrote Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and Anzoátegui State, which is not exactly as the same one. The first one was Sarén, and this is just a seal from Anzoátegui State. Okay, let's go on and focus on the purple arrow here. That's where your target text starts for folio 2. Now there's a number 5, that of course is handwritten. Look at my comment here. There appears a handwritten birth certificate that reads as follows. So if it's handwritten, which is not in every case, I have to tell you something. Sometimes these birth certificates are very hard to read when they're handwritten. Years ago, this is how they used to be. If the person was born back in the 80s, like I was, most likely the first birth certificates are handwritten. So don't be surprised if you get a handwritten birth certificate. What happens is that if the birth certificate it's pretty hard to read because it's handwritten, you can always feel free to charge your client more money because you're going to spend more time trying to figure out what is being said here, trying to translate something that is being handwritten. It's sometimes very challenging to do. Okay, so I start here number 5. Follow me here on the purple arrow. I translated the text over here, kept going, describing, where this person was born, who her parents are, and all that, right? Let's move on to the next page. Towards the end of this page, there is a person signing here, and it's very clear. It says here in the source text, el prefecto. So you're going to translate the phrase el prefecto, the prefect, and of course signed illegible. It's very common that you use the phrase signed illegible in brackets because it's not part of the source text. It's a comment that you are introducing. What I did next is I'm describing this oval shaped or this other seal that is here. There appears some round shaped ink seals that read, and then this is Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And I zoomed it very well. I asked a colleague of mine, and we decided that this is a seal from the Ministry of Popular Power for Interior Relations, Justice and Peace. Okay, since we have escudo inside the seal, then we have to describe escudo nacional, and escudo nacional is translated as great coat of arms, and it's also a SAREN, the Autonomous Service of Registry and Notaries. So here's a description of the black oval shaped here. Okay, the next one is we're getting towards the end of the document here, and what I want to say here is that when you're done translating this, and you describe the seals and all that. If you're done, then what you have to do is introduce the phrase end of translation when you're done with the target, with the source text. When you're done translating, you have to make the comment end of translation. Okay, don't forget this. I will take point off if you forget to write end of translation on your project, the project that you're going to be working on. Also, what I like doing, since I'm not a certified translator, towards the end of the target text, I always use this phrase. I hereby attest that the above translation is a faithful and true version of the original document written in the Spanish language and committed to me for translation into English. And I, call myself a public interpreter, even though I am not a certified public interpreter. Okay, as I said before, sometimes you have to check this information. You have to be very straight with your client and tell them that you are not a certified translator. If you work with a certified translator in your team, then you make clear that there is a person in the team who certifies the translation for you. Therefore, you are capable of working on that specific project. Okay, so I hope you get a good idea of how it works. I basically walked you through the process. I will provide these materials as a PDF so that you can always go back. And what I'm going to do is I will be your project manager for these upcoming projects, legal translation projects. You're going to be my translators. In our case, I don't have a proofreader. I am going to be the project manager, and I will be the proofreader as well. Okay. So while I go through your documents as a proofreader, I will be checking the way you organize text, the way you describe seals, the way you introduce new folios, the translator's comments such as end of translation, or when you have to describe that it's a handwritten document. All of these things are important. So make sure that you get used to the way it is structured so I don't have to take points off your project, okay? We're going to do this the same way we have been working for previous projects. It's going to be a document on Google Docs. You're going to share your work with another partner. We're going to keep it down to 2 people only per team, okay? Because this is a short project. 2 people are going to work on the project, producing the target text. You will share the file with me. I will make comments and grade so I can post your grades on Turner. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and I'm very excited to see your work. Okay, see you around. Keep safe. Stay safe. Bye bye.